You've heard that voice before, the one that tells you to wait, to be careful, to stay where it's safe. And the strange part is, it sounds like you, but it isn't. Have you ever stood at the edge of something you wanted and walked away before you even tried? Not because it was impossible, but because that voice arrived first. You told yourself it wasn't the right time, that you weren't ready, and the moment passed. Then another. This is a story about what happens when one of them finally doesn't. And when she finally tried, nothing felt the way she expected. There was a bird who had never left the valley. Not because she couldn't. Her wings were strong. She knew this. She had tested them quietly, alone, in the early mornings before the forest woke. Short lifts off the branch, feeling the air move beneath her. She always came back down before anyone saw. She told herself she was being sensible. The valley was safe. She knew its paths, its rhythms, its hiding places. She had built a life here that worked. And a life that works is not something you question lightly. That was the problem. The crow had a lot to say about birds who reached too far. He said it casually, not aimed at anyone, but somehow always landing. He talked about the ones who left and never found anything worth finding, the ones who came back with less than they started with. The valley, he said, gave you everything you needed, if you were smart enough to see it. The bird listened. She always listened. And each time, something in her settled back into its familiar place, the place that agreed, that nodded, that found reasons why the crow was probably right. She had seen what presence without words could do, how simply staying still, without explaining yourself, could be enough for someone else to finally breathe. The turtle said nothing. He had watched her for 2 seasons from his place by the old stone. He saw the morning lifts. He saw her come back down. He said nothing because he understood something important. Some realizations cannot be handed to another animal. They have to be arrived at. And at first, it seemed like nothing would ever change. But then, something did, and it wasn't what she expected. One afternoon, as the bird sat staring at the ridge she had never crossed, the turtle said something quietly. "The valley is real," he said, "and the ridge is also real. You will never know which one you actually chose until you choose the other one." That sentence stayed with her longer than she expected. The bird didn't answer. She sat with it. The way you sit with something that lands too accurately to answer right away. That night, the crow's voice came back. All the familiar reasons, all the comfortable weight of staying. She moved through them one by one, expecting them to settle her. They didn't. And then something shifted. She realized in the dark and quiet of that night something she had never seen clearly before. She had been listening to the crow's voice for so long, she had stopped noticing it wasn't hers. She knew that, and that was the problem. The fear she had dressed as sensibility, the caution she had dressed as wisdom, none of it had come from inside her. It had come from outside, and she had taken it in, made it furniture, made it the walls of the room she lived in. In the morning, she went to the branch earlier than usual, and this time, something was different. The valley was still gray. The ridge was there, not inviting, not threatening, just present, just waiting to be either crossed or not. She lifted off the branch. No announcement, no declaration. She simply rose. No hesitation this time. Higher than the morning lifts, higher than she had ever allowed herself before. Moving toward the ridge with the quiet focus of an animal that has finally stopped arguing with itself. The crossing was not what she had imagined, but she didn't turn back. Harder in some places, easier in others. The wind on the far side was stronger, less predictable. There were moments when she understood exactly why she had stayed below for so long. She kept going. What she found on the other side was not a revelation, not a paradise. It was simply more world, Different trees, different light, different sounds. Real. And entirely outside anything she had prepared for. She stayed for one full day. Then she turned and flew back. That was enough. The valley looked different from above on the return, not smaller, not lesser. Just one thing among other things. A place she had chosen, now, rather than a place she had simply never left. The crow was on his branch when she landed. He looked at her, said nothing. The turtle was by his stone. He looked up as she passed. She didn't need to explain. He hadn't expected her to. She landed on her branch and sat very still. Not triumphant, not relieved, just settled. The real kind, the kind that comes from the inside. The voice that tells you to stay is not always wrong, but it is not always yours. There is a difference between choosing safety and being kept by fear, between a life you have built and a life you have simply never left. That difference is quiet. It doesn't announce itself, but it shapes everything. Maybe you have been standing at that edge longer than you realize, or maybe you are still standing there right now. Have you ever talked yourself out of something you knew, deep down, you needed to try? I'm curious what this made you think of. Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And in the next story, you will meet someone who had nothing but his mind and used it to face the most unexpected moment of his life.